Hi everyone, I'm River from Cleverlike Studios, and today I'm going to show you how to control your IoT or smart home devices from inside Minecraft Education so that you can do cool stuff like this. So let's start by talking about what you need to make this trick happen. The first thing you're going to need is an IFTTT compatible smart device. Now we'll talk about what IFTTT is in just a second, but let's talk about making sure that the devices that we have are compatible with IFTTT. And if you head over to Amazon.com or any other retailer and you search for IFTTT Smart Plug, for example, and that's what I will be using today, you'll see that there are just a ton of these, and most of these will work just fine. You just want to make sure that the app that the smart plug uses for setup is compatible with IFTTT, and we'll talk a little bit more about how to find out whether or not something is compatible with IFTTT in just a minute. The next thing you're going to need is an account on a website called IFTTT.com. And what IFTTT stands for is if this, then that. And it does exactly what the title suggests. So let's take a look at if this, then that right now. So when you head over to if this, then that, the first thing it'll ask you to do is to log in or create an account. Now, I already have an account, so I am in. And this is the website. And what the website does, and it's actually really, really incredible because this whole process that we're going to do today does not require any code, any hacks, any mods in Minecraft whatsoever. We simply need to create a pathway for applications to talk to one another. And that is exactly what if this, then that does. It gives you a way to create interactions between applications, between software, between processes, between smart devices, to make them work the way you want to without any code whatsoever. And we do that by creating something called applets. So we're going to go through the process of creating applets in a way where we can embed those applets right into our Minecraft education worlds. So what we want is we want a way to create a link that when we go to that link, it automatically sends a signal or a trigger to our smart home device to turn on or to turn off, because we can embed links in Minecraft Education Edition using things like NPCs. And that's exactly how I had set it up at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to walk you through the process of creating those. Now, I already have my account set up, and I actually already have created these applets, otherwise it wouldn't have worked at the beginning of the video. But I'm going to walk through that process again so you can see exactly how that process works, how we set that up. But before we do that, one of the things that I want to make sure you see, and this is important, is if you're going to be searching for a particular piece of software. So let's say you bought a smart plug and that smart plug uses a particular software. You want to check here if that software, that app is supported. So for example, the smart plugs that I'm using today use an app called Smart Life. So if I just simply type in Smart Life, and that's the app they use, I can see that it is listed here, so it is supported. So any device that uses this application, I can connect to my if this, then that account, and I can create ways to interact with that device. So you want to check to make sure that the applications that the smart devices that you're using are supported. So when I mentioned earlier, we want to make sure that something is if this, then that, or IFTTT compatible. This is a really easy way to check, is to just go to IFTTT, type in the name of the app that piece of software or hardware uses, and see if it's there. So now that we know that our device is supported, we're going to go ahead and create an applet that will control our smart home devices. And here's how we do it. We're going to go up to this top button right here that says Create. And we're going to click Create. We're going to create a brand new, what we call an applet. An applet is simply an algorithm or a process that allows those things or tells them what to do in what order. And we're going to create it. And they've added some new features, so we get this little pop-up. We'll say got it and thanks. And of course we see if this, and we're going to add something that is going to start it. Then we want it to do something else. Well, we want to create a link that's going to connect to this. And the way we do that is with a program called a webhook. So if I just type in web, you'll see that this middle one right here is called a webhook. And so we're going to click that and create a webhook. Now, there are several different types of webhooks, and some of them can retrieve data or send data. Other ones simply send a trigger or a signal, and that's all we're going to to need today is to kind of just send a signal so that our program knows what to do. So we're going to go with this second option right here that says receive a web request. And you can see this trigger fires every time the maker service receives a web request for notifying it of an event. So basically anytime that link goes to, it's just going to send a trigger, a signal to that particular device is what we want. So we're going to click there and we're going to name this. Now you'll notice at the bottom, it's giving you some suggestions for how to name it. We don't want to use things like spaces because they're not going to work within the confines of our web address that we're going to create. So we're going to keep it really, really simple. We're going to use all lowercase. We can use underscores. I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm just going to call this one light on. And we're going to click create trigger. So now we've got our first part set up. Basically, when our device gets a signal that's just called light on, it's going to do this next step. Now you may be wondering, well, how do I know what website to go to for this? I'm going to show you that in just a minute. So let's add the next step. We are going to add what we want to happen when this occurs. We're going to click add. And now what I want it to do is I want it to go to my Smart Life device. I should type that correctly. And I want it to turn on. Now, the first time you come here, it's going to ask you to connect your Smart Life account. So when you created or set up those smart home devices at your house, you probably created an account to do so. You're going to connect that account with this account. And it'll prompt you to do that the first time. Now, I've already done that. So I've got my Smart Life account connected here. And so I've got it here. It's the only one on the dropdown. And I have some options of what light I want that is connected to that app. It already found them for me automatically. I want it to turn on my den light. That's the one in the room I'm in. So I'm going to click den light and I'm going to click create action. I'm going to come over here and hit continue. It's going to ask me to title it. I can change the title if I want, but it auto-generated a title. Basically, if the event light on happens, then turn on the den light. This works perfectly for me. I'm going to hit finish. And I've got my first applet all set to go. The next thing I need to do is repeat this whole process again for a light off option. So I need another trigger that's going to tell it when to turn off. Otherwise, my light just stays on all the time. So we're going to go up to the top again, hit create. We're going to add an if this. Again, we're going to use a webhook. So if I just type web, I'll see webhook pop up. We're going to do the one that says receive a web request. And we'll call this one light off. We'll create that trigger. And then it says then that. We want it to go, for me at least, you're going to check to see if the app that your device supports is on this list. Mine is the Smart Life app. So I'm going to come over here to my Smart Life app. I'm going to tell it to turn off a particular device. And again, I want it to turn off the den light when it gets that trigger, and I'll create that action. I'll hit continue, and I will hit finish. And I'm all set, and you can see this one even says connected. And if I wanted to test it, I could actually check right now, and I could click this, check now, and of course, if I do, the light in my room, sure enough, turned off. So I know that that's working. The next thing we need to do is go ahead and grab that link, or actually two links that we've created, whether we realized it or not, in order to make this whole process work. And to do that, we're going to go over here to the top right, and we're going to go to our little account icon over here. And we're going to go to My Services. Because when we created those webhooks, we actually created a webhook service to make all of this function. So we're going to go to My Services, and you can see I've got a whole bunch of things connected to my IFTTT device, because you can make all sorts of connections between these things. But at the bottom here, alphabetically, we've got webhooks. I'm going to go ahead and click on webhooks, and you can see it says webhooks integrations. And I'm going to click on documentation right over here, right next to that create button under webhooks. When I do, it takes me here. Now, the very first thing you need to know is this key at the top is specific to your account and to your devices. Now, I'm showing mine on the screen, but I want you to know by the time this video comes out, I will have changed that key. And you can change that key and things will still work at any time, but you want to keep that key private. If I were to publish this and leave that alone, it would mean that anyone watching this video could find that web link and just start making the lights in my house go crazy. So be careful with that. I'm sharing it so that you can see exactly what you need to do with it. I recommend that you keep that very, very private. I am going to change mine before this video gets published. But you'll notice that you have some code documentation here to trigger an event. And the one that we want is actually this second one down that says to trigger an event with 3 JSON values. Now, we're not going to need any of those values. What we just need is the link that includes the trigger and the key. And if we look right here, you can see right here, they actually give us our link with our key, which is right here, already included. All I need to do is come into this spot right here, and they even give us a place to type it in, and type the names of the triggers that I created. Now let's remember what we've created. I created one called light on, no spaces, just like that. And I can actually, oh, it works better if you go the other way. We'll try that one more time. From left to right, we'll go ahead and copy this, and we're going to copy that link. Now, I'm only going to copy that one. I could go ahead and copy this to a document. I could then type in light off and make the other one. But since I only have to change a couple letters between light on and light off, I'm just going to go ahead and save this one. And this is the link that I want to bring into my Minecraft education world. And that's exactly what we're going to do in our next step. So for our next step, we're going to go ahead and we're going to recreate what I did at the beginning of the video, and I'm going to show you how to do that in Minecraft Education using an NPC. So I'm in my Minecraft Education world, and I'm just in a flat world for now, but we could do this in any world whatsoever. And we're going to go ahead and create an NPC so that we can embed our links in there. Now, there are lots of ways to embed links into Minecraft worlds. And if you're using another version of Minecraft, for example, Java Edition, there are some really clever ways to make command blocks work with links, which makes for some unique ways to use this. In fact, I had some feedback on Twitter, which was really cool, where one of the users found a way to embed the link into a command block so that anytime the door of his house in his server was opened, he would get a text message using a connection he made in the if this then that account, which is really, really cool idea. I loved that idea. Thought that'd be super awesome. You get an alert every time on your phone when someone opens the door to your house. A way to stay connected to your Minecraft world even when you're not in it. But for now, we're going to keep it simple, and we're just going to make sure we have a way to turn our light on and off. So we're going to create another NPC in this world and show you how to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is open my inventory, and I'm going to search for NPC. And that's going to give me this spawn NPC egg right here. We'll put that into our inventory right here, keeping things simple. And we're going to place one of these in our world. But of course, if you've never done this before and you try to place an NPC in your world, it just doesn't happen. And the reason for that is you need to be in world builder mode. And the way to do that is on our keyboard, we're going to type slash, and that's going to bring up our chat and command line with the slash. We're going to put in the letters WB. And that's going to turn on world builder mode and put us into world builder mode. You can see in the top left, we get that status update telling us we're in world builder mode. And now, of course, if I put down an NPC, I've got one. Now, it doesn't look like my other one at all, but we're going to fix that up. So let's go ahead and right click on this NPC. And this is where we can change its names. So we can call it whatever we want, light controller or light controls. We can change what it looks like, and they've given us some pre-made ones. We can choose like one of these computer terminals. I always think that's like a good idea for this sort of interface. And so we've got a name and a look for it already. We're going to go into advanced settings. And in here we have two options. But for today, we're going to add a URL. That's a web link, right? We just created a web link and we want to put it in. So we're going to add a URL. I'm going to click add URL. It tells us that it has to begin with those. The good news is when we copied that from our website, it includes all of that already. So on my keyboard, I can just use my shortcut and hit Control V to paste it here. And you'll notice my whole URL is there. along with my trigger name right here, light on, and my key, my long sequence of letters there from the website that lets it know that it's going to link to my account. I'm going to give this button a name. Obviously makes sense to call it something like light on. I like making that last part nice and bold, but that's just me. But we're going to add a second one. Obviously, we need one for light off. Now, here's the cool part. Because we were simple when we named them, that link is going to be exactly the same except for one part. So I'm going to go ahead and paste it again with Control V. And I'm just going to move my cursor all the way over here. And we're just going to delete that N and change that to light off. And that is the exact link we would create for our light off command. That is all set. And we'll create the name of this button as light off. And we'll go ahead and be all done with that. Now, we don't have to hit save. We don't have to do anything like that. We can simply hit the back arrow here, and we can close this out. Now, of course, right now, if I go to interact with my NPC, I keep getting this sort of edit character box where we can edit our NPC. We don't want to edit it. We want to interact with it, which means we need to turn World Builder mode off again. So we're going to do /WB, and we are out of World Builder mode. And now, of course, when we're ready, we can talk to our NPC. Now, there's no dialogue in here. I could have added some dialogue. I did add some dialogue to this one right here that just said click below to turn your room lights on or off. You can make it say whatever you want, however creative you want to be. You go ahead and do that. Now, once we've got that, everything should be up and running. All right, so it's now time to test this. Let's make sure everything is working. Both of mine are set up exactly the same, so it doesn't really matter which NPC I interact with. But again, once I've got this all up and running, I can go ahead and I can hit that light off button to test this. And you'll notice that it brought up a web page, because that is actually how it does this in Minecraft Education Edition. It opens a web page, and you can actually read the dialogue. It says, "Congratulations, you fired the light off event." What I like to do is I tend to just take this and drag it over to my other screen. If you've got one, you can hide it behind it, you can minimize it, and that way it doesn't keep doing that. And you can just now hit light on, and that doesn't get in your way anymore. And you can hit light off, and it doesn't get in your way anymore. And everything works. Now, you'll notice there was a little bit of a delay there at that last one when I hit it, and that can happen. It depends on web traffic. It depends on how long it takes. It depends on your internet, of course, at home, and how long that signal takes to get to the smart device. So there may be a little bit of a delay, but everything should be working, which is really, really awesome. So that is how you connect your smart home devices to a Minecraft education world just like this, and it totally works. There are lots of really cool and creative ways you can use IFTTT and Minecraft together to do this, now that you can put these links in there like this. So play with it, experiment with it. We want to see what you can connect to your Minecraft education worlds. If you do create something really cool, if this has inspired you to connect your Minecraft worlds to an IoT or smart home device, we want to see it. So tweet us at Cleverlike and let us know what you've created. Thanks so much for watching.